What did you surprise, Shawty crew? And hey, my Daizee loves. I'm going to try my best to be quick with a number of things today. The first being, this is absolutely what you have been waiting for, what you have been waiting on. For me, I've said this a number of times. I just didn't know how to get to where I wanted to be. And I can look back and I can thank God though, because I even remember having the dreams where it was like, well, I know I'm trying to be over there. I don't really know how to be over there. And my man in a dream, Jesus, my kingdom spouse, like, he lifted me up and carried me over there. And I was like, oh, so this is how you get over here. And I really feel like that is what has happened in my life. 2024 was so hard. Like, it was one of those years where it felt like it was setting me back, but it was really God, like, getting ready to launch me forward in a way that was the healthiest I've ever been. Healthiest mentally, healthiest emotionally, healthiest physically, but first and foremost, the healthiest, like, spiritually. And I did not know, like, that's what it would take, that's what it would be. Now, more specific than that, because I'm thinking about making the other live public, okay? But we all know that live was very real, and I recognize I addressed things on that live and shared things I've never really shared, you know, with people, let alone the world, right? And that was active, like, healing for me. I recognize that. I see that. And there were some things that were just really hard for me to accept and to face. And I try my best to come to y'all from a positive, uplifting, you know, encouraging, motivating place. But sometimes that's just not where I'm at. And so if I'm so transparent, I gotta meet y'all where I'm at, because the Lord is meeting me right there. And so feeling like, and that's your feelings, right? But feeling like my family don't even like me. Like, let's be for real. But understanding that's not really what it was. Like, that's why we always have to pray for God's perspective on things. They don't like themselves, right? They betraying me. They betraying themselves. They betraying the Lord. You get what I'm saying? No matter what the circumstances are. And so growing up, that was so hard for me to accept that. It was so hard for me to understand, like, really who I am, really who God called me to be. Like, oh, this is real, right? Like, it's another word I'm gonna do separate, but like, this is real. Everything I felt, everything I dreamed, everything I wanted, everything that he was showing me was legitimate. And so a part of that is that for me in this season, being like I could tell y'all for so long, like, you the one, baby girl, hey, gonna come with that, but I didn't feel like I was the one, right? No matter how many times God said it, it didn't feel like that to me. But right? Here I am, and the closer I get to God, the more I heal, the more I'm like, oh, like, I really am the one. And it's not because I'm the one, it's because I really walk with the one who is the one. That's why all that hate has came with it, right? And just, okay, I get it. Now, something I've been thinking about today, just randomly, like, relationship, that's where it's at. So that's what I'm saying. I'm in a real deal relationship with the one. Okay, religion is always going to be jealous of relationship, because relationship with him is very raw, it's real, it's transparent, right? It's free. Religion is not that, okay? And so to take it kind of a step further, people look at you and they think that you're perfect. And it's like, I'm not perfect. I've never been perfect. I just walk with the one who is. People look at you and they think like, oh, everything's so easy for you. Even the hard stuff. Like, why are you jealous of even the bad stuff I go through? Because you make it look easy, when really I've had to learn. I've had no choice really, but to learn how to, like, give stuff to him. Or not even if I don't even be realizing I'm giving stuff to him. It's just because I'm really walking with him and he really is a gentleman. Like, the other day I was telling my mama, like, I live like this stuff in, like, TV shows, right? Like, I remember walking to class in high school, walking even on college campus, and men, nice gentlemen, boys, whatever, they would carry my books. Like, that's what you need to learn, right? Like, to the class you going, and it's heavy. And for a girl, some men really do feel like, let me hold them books, let me carry them books. Sometimes I don't even realize how much of a gentleman the Lord is being to me. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't even realize, even without me asking, he's been carrying these things for me in my life. And so the other people, they seem, oh, like, your load is light. Like, she ain't really going through nothing. She ain't really carrying nothing. It ain't really heavy for her over there, which that's really not the case. So some stuff I do struggle to actually hand over to him, even though he's begging me, like, let me take this. You're the love of my life. Let me take this. But I don't always realize like that's what's happening in the spirit. And so people will be jealous, people will be envious, and mind you, what I was saying the other day in the live, that was real raw emotions. This is like days later, and I've had time to think about it and reflect on it, but we don't realize that for ourselves. So, and it's my life. So of course, onlookers, people who are just watching you, watching how you live, they don't realize that, they don't recognize that, they don't understand that. Okay, so really having to just kind of like sit with like the reality of Megan's life, the reality of Megan's walk. I have always had a genuine relationship with him. Now, something else I was thinking about this morning is I feel like the worst stuff low-key, like it be happening to me. I feel like, or had happened to me, I feel like I go through like the toughest of times, I go through like the worst of times, but truth be told, I also have the best stuff happen to me. I always have the best stuff, unexplainable stuff happen for me, right? I'm turning. I had to kind of pay attention right there. And although I go through hard things, I go through challenging things, I also receive so many rewarding things. I get to experience so many rewarding things, right? And so it comes with it. And it's not like we don't talk about these things often, but I feel like every round really goes higher and higher. So the more you heal, the more you can receive that and see that and understand that, right? And so I have to understand it about my life. The reality of who I am. The reality is he chose me. He predestined me before the foundations of the world, before the world began. I predestined you to do my will, right? Like that's the reality. The reality is I really sat you there to be a curse breaker. Like it's 2 other videos I need to make today, but that's the reality, right? And the more I accept it, the easier it's coming for me to have a different perspective on what have for most of my life been the most challenging things. So one, being able to really be like, nah, these folks really treating me like they hated me, and that was my family. Like, I really had to accept that. I had to accept that, and it was hard, right? Like, y'all just saw, I said that on the live, crying. It was hard, right? And the reality of it being, like, God didn't have to teach me how to be a better person to people. Like, he has, but, like, my testing in life is really, like, forgiving. Like, hurt people, you know what I'm saying? And even forgiving myself. But again, that's going to come to some other content. And last but not least, the other thing I was thinking about, one of the other harder things for me was always feeling like I was alone, but realizing I was never alone. So one thing I look forward to in marriage, I think one reason I've always wanted to be married, because in my mind, like, you always have this person with you to, like, do stuff with, to do life with, all that. But at the end of the day, that's really Jesus. And so having to understand that too, it may have felt lonely like my whole entire life. Like, even though I had people I was living in the house with, even though I had friends and stuff that I was living in the dorms with, right? Even though I was supposed to have cousins and stuff and family and stuff, and it wasn't supposed to feel like I was alone in this world, but it always felt like that. And I think that was something that was in the way with my healing in general, and just like relationships and everything like that feeling of like, why am I always alone? But not realizing, that's what I'm saying, if it's me that didn't even understand this different stuff about my own life, not realizing like, baby, you was never alone. I always had him, Jesus Christ, and I'ma always have him. So those 2 things for me specifically, having to accept what the reality was really 3 things. Having to accept the reality of who I am, right? Even if some of it scared me, because I'm gonna get to some of that in other videos. 2, having to accept the reality of the family dynamic, right? And 3, having to accept, like, you may have felt alone, but you were never really alone. Those are, like, this is really what I was waiting on. This is really what I was waiting for. In a moment, in a time, in a season where I couldn't even articulate that, where I didn't understand that, where I didn't know to pray, for that. You get what I'm saying? So I thank God, because he knew my heart's desires. He knew my heart's cry. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Even when I didn't. And whenever I start saying, like, I feel him on me heavy. Whenever I start saying, like, I love the Lord, he heard my cry, I know he's answering things that I prayed for a long time ago, or things that were deep desires of my heart. And I don't know how to get there, God. I don't know what to do, God. I don't know how to be this woman that you've been showing me. I don't know how to be this woman that I desire to be. But walking with him, and I'm telling you, like, just how he showed me that. Like, you pray for a spouse who, like, understands what you're going through, even if you can't say it. It's him. Like, I know she's having a hard time finding the words. I know she's struggling inside of herself, and I ain't gonna take it personal, but I'm still right here walking with her. Like, I'm seeing this vision so clearly right now. He's always been here. Even if he gave me a little room, he was always here. Always watching over me, protecting me, and loving on me, even when I was going through the worst of times. I'm imagining it was hard for him to see and watch, but he knew it was going to make me stronger, and he knew I had to go through it to power up to be the Megan that I was destined to be. And not only that, he understood all those feelings and those emotions, because Jesus is the only one who went through everything and walked it out perfectly. So he knew how it felt. He was near me. He's near the brokenhearted. Like, no matter how far back in life I'm going, no matter what I'm talking about, he was near me, and he understood me, and he had compassion for me, and he wasn't leaving my side. And he wanted to see me, grow and be purified, because at the end of the day, he coming back for a spotless bride. Without spot, without blemish, that's what he's coming back for. But to know that he walks with me, he knows me, and okay, so maybe that's 4 things, right? Like, I talk about kingdom marriage so much, but in this season of my life, like, you really him. You was really my husband this whole time. Like, it was you. And a man could never do that. A man could never heal. A human man could never truly heal. He could help, but he could never truly heal the hurts that was in my heart. Those things that only I could heal from at his feet. Jesus. You get what I'm saying? So that's a breakthrough. Like, this is what you've been waiting on. To understand that, really acknowledge it, feel that, and accept it, and receive it, and be happy about it. Like, no, I'm glad you my husband, Jesus. I'm glad it's you first. And I'm glad you showed me a love I will never get in a human. And that you were always showing it to me, right? Like, that's real life breakthrough. So this is what you was waiting for. This is what you was waiting on. And I thank him, okay? I love y'all. I will see y'all in the next few uploads.